Here's what I want to talk about today on Monday Mindset. And I was trying to scroll back, looking through when we started this, and I couldn't get that far enough back, um, mostly because I thought of it 2 minutes before we went live. But it was around this time 2 years ago that we started doing the Monday Mindset. It was sometime between March and May. We started doing these Monday Mindset videos here on the Giant platform with the idea to help people reset their mindset, right? To help people build a healthy mindset, a resilient mindset, an intentional mindset. And part of my question is like, have you done it? Have you done it? Right? Think about when, like, man, I was going to get healthy, but it made an excuse. Well, I was going to be positive, build a positive mindset, but then you made an excuse. I was going to lose the weight, but you made an excuse. I was going to talk to the boss, but then I made an excuse. I was going to save the money, and then there's an excuse. How many promises have you broken to yourself? How many excuses have you made to prevent yourself to get out of doing the work that you said that you were going to do? How many times have you made excuses for an unhealthy mindset, for an unhealthy response, for unhealthy behaviors? I think a lot of times today, what I see is that we're living in a world where people don't want to take accountability and ownership of their unhealthy mindsets. They want to be empowered and enabled to have unhealthy mindsets because they want to make excuses. Well, yeah, but didn't you see this? And what about that? And how can you expect it? Like, we won't change our mindsets until we stop making excuses for our unhealthy mindset, our unhealthy actions, our unhealthy behaviors. We have to stop making excuses. Give you an example. I love to use Twitter, right? It's probably my favorite social media platform. I put a lot of leadership thoughts out there. And over the weekend, I tweeted out, less entitlement, more gratitude. And someone, don't know who they are, maybe they're on watching right now, but someone replied with, being grateful in this political mindset or in this political situation, no thanks. Or this political unrest, being grateful in this political unrest, no thanks. I was like, okay, well, you're making an excuse. Because I didn't say everything's going great. I didn't say the world is as it should be. I didn't say that your life is as it should be. But we can still choose gratitude, right? Gratitude is about your mindset. It's not about your circumstance. And so that's a reason, that's an excuse to keep being negative, to keep being anxious, to keep being unhealthy in terms of how you think. And it's never going to lead to positive actions. It's never going to make anything better because I can see what's going on in the world and be very aware of it, right? It's not to dismiss that and be naive. That's not healthy. But so, yeah, I see that, but I have all these things to be grateful for. I have a job that I don't like going to. That's okay. And I'd be grateful for my job, but I don't like it. I get it. Sometimes we're just in jobs for a season. But you can be grateful that you have that job. You can be grateful that you get to provide for your family. You can be grateful that you get to wake up and go use your hands and use your mind and use your skills each day. Whether you love the actual work or not, you can still choose to be grateful. Just because you don't like the situation, that's not an excuse to be negative, to have an unhealthy mindset. I put out another tweet over the weekend that said perspective is a superpower. And someone replied about how they've tried to, how do you have perspective in times like these? That's impossible, or no thanks, or my perspective is that things are terrible. Like, well, if you actually look at every measure of human flourishing, things are better than they've ever been. Again, that doesn't dismiss all the terrible things that are happening in the world, right? There are a lot of horrible, awful, I mean, this weekend was a great example of that, right? A lot of terrible, evil things happening in our country and around the world. I get it. But you still have a choice in what you look for. You don't dismiss those things, but we can't change things if we continue to be overcome by things, right? And a lot of the things that we talk about, a lot of the things that we get overwhelmed with actually don't impact our day-to-day lives at all, right? It's really interesting. So for those who follow the social media and business and entrepreneurship world, Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter. Elon Musk, the founder, owner of Tesla cars, he wants to buy Twitter. And it's been fascinating for the last 2 to 3 weeks since that announcement was made, watching people on Twitter freak out about it. They can't handle it. They don't like it. They're worried about it. It's like, one, he doesn't own it yet. This is a months-long process. So nothing has changed. Two, even if it does, it doesn't matter, right? Your life, it doesn't change. Whoever owns Twitter, your life doesn't really change. But you've seen all these people freaking out. Like, well, we spend so much time making excuses for our unhealthy mindset, for our unhealthy behaviors, for our unhealthy actions based on things that have zero impact on us. Like we're worried and freaked out over something happening on the internet that has zero impact on our daily lives. Well, yeah, but didn't you see? Well, yeah, but what? We have to stop making excuses. We have to stop making excuses. Complete what you commit to. If you said you were going to do it, do it. If you said you were going to build a healthy mindset, then build a healthy mindset. Is it going to be easy? Of course not. We didn't sign up for easy. We didn't sign up for comfortable. We didn't sign up for convenient. That's not the path. That's not the process. We know it's going to be hard. But if you said you were going to do it, if you made a commitment, I'm going to build a healthier mindset for the good of yourself, for the good of your family, if you have a family, for the good of your team and your organization. If you said you were going to do it, do it. Do not break a promise to yourself. Do not negotiate with yourself. You committed to it, do it. Simply do the work. Because we know that the enemy of resistance kicks in all the time. Yeah, you said you were going to be positive, but then this happened. You said you were going to be resilient, but this is really hard. You said you were going to be hopeful, but can you believe this? And the enemy of resistance is always trying to take us out by finding excuses to be negative, to be anxious, to be worried, to be full of doubt. But to have a healthy mindset is to see those things, to be aware of those things, right? Again, we're not ignoring those things. I'm saying, I see that, but the only way to make things better is to choose the way that I show up, to not be a victim of my circumstances, but to own the way that I show up, to own the way that I think, to stop making excuses. Because average people make excuses. Period. Average people make excuses and things never get better for them. Their mindset never gets better. Their life never gets better. The relationships never get better because they always make excuses for why they didn't do the thing that they knew that they should do. And here's what I know. It is never the right time to do the wrong thing. It's never the right time to do the wrong thing. We always hear like it's always the right time to do the right thing. But it's never the right time to do the wrong thing. And so in that moment, in that difficult situation, it's the right time to trade up to have a better mindset. In the midst of that adversity, it's the right time to trade up and be resilient. In the midst of facing that obstacle, it's the right time to trade up and be optimistic. When you get bad news, it's the right time to trade up and find the good, find the positive. In the midst of a hard situation, it's the right time to trade up and choose to be grateful. So what excuses do you need to eliminate today? Like I know that most of my life, I've just made a lot of excuses for why I do the things that I do, why I think the way that I think. And the people that we watch who are around us, who like life tends to go their way, they're not superhuman. They just don't make excuses. But for the people who, man, drama follows them everywhere. Everything is so difficult for that person. Well, there's a reason. Look at their mindset. And instead of looking in the mirror and saying, wait a minute, I got to take ownership. I got to take ownership for the way that I think. This situation could be difficult. This situation could be really stressful. This situation could be more than I expected it to be, but I can't make the excuse to be negative, to be anxious, to be stressed out, to let my emotions drive my mindset. I've got to choose the way that I show up. And the people who do that are the people that we want to follow. Because we see people say, man, this is hard, but they chose to be optimistic. There was no reason to be optimistic, but they chose to be optimistic. And in the midst of that, like they didn't have to keep showing. They could have quit. They could have quit, but they chose to not quit. They didn't make an excuse. They chose to complete what they committed to. And that's our challenge today, right? No more excuses. When it comes to your mindset, when it comes to your behaviors, what have you committed to? Who have you said that you were going to be? And don't beat yourself up for the excuses, right? That's not the point. But just to acknowledge, like, hey, nobody's going to make your mindset better except you. Nobody can do the work except you. Nobody will make you a better leader except you. And nobody can want it more for you than you. And so call yourself up. Say, hey, I'm better than excuses. I'm better than excuses. You can find a way or make a way. For every excuse there is to quit, find one reason to keep going, one reason to keep believing, one reason to be positive, one reason to be hopeful. All you need is one reason, right? Because if you can talk yourself out of it, you can talk yourself into it. So challenge yourself. Whenever you hear that enemy of resistance come in, trying to take you off the path, trying to take you out with negative thinking, trying to give you an excuse, recognize that and say, no, not today. Today's not the day that I'm going to make an excuse. Today is the day I'm going to be committed to who I said I was going to be. Today is the day I'm going to actually work to develop a healthy mindset, a resilient mindset, a positive mindset. And that's going to give you the strength and the momentum and the confidence to do it tomorrow when adversity hits again, and the next day when adversity hits again. Because the more you commit to it, the stronger you get. So let's eliminate excuses from our life. Let's be the kind of people who complete what we commit to. Tracy, any thoughts?
Oh, I could not be more in agreement with you than on this subject. I feel like you need to go teach every high school student, every college student, every young person to learn this early. Because if we wait for all the stars to align, right? If we wait for every circumstance to be perfect to do anything, it will never happen. I was thinking about you running. Like every day you get up and make a choice. Am I going to run today or am I not going to run today? And almost every day, especially in Oklahoma, you could go, it's too cold, it's too windy, it's too hot, it's too this, it's too that. And you would never run, right? So I'm say amen and amen to all that you're saying. Love it. Yeah.
And I think it's getting to, I watched a video. I'm going to not find it while we're sitting here because that's not going to happen. But this guy I follow, he's an entrepreneur. He held an event at his house called Driveway to Hell. Basically, like it was a half marathon, people running up and down his driveway. And it's like, it's just a really steep incline going up and then decline going down. And so they gave him, I don't know how much time, but I saw a lady, some of them it took 5-6 hours. I saw a lady who was 70 years old. 70 years old did it. She's out there running at a half 70 years old at a half marathon. She's like, she could have quit anytime. I'm old. I'm tired. That's a big hill. It's hot. It's like, and we look at people like, wow, that's cool. Why not you? Why not us? Why not me?
That's right.
Yeah. It's like, that's the thing. Like she's not special in terms of like, she doesn't have any special abilities other than her mind. Right. That's the special ability is her mindset. Like, all these excuses. And the guy told him, he's like, hey, when you're out here, don't think about your taxes. Don't think about your paycheck. Don't think about your bills. Don't think about your stress. Just think about taking the next step. He said, all you have to do is take the next step and you just keep doing that until you're done. And it's like, that's how you eliminate excuses, right? You just focus on the next thing.
Love it. We're getting some comments in the giant TV. Margaret's just saying, yes, gratitude is about your mindset. We have to move out of excuses and move to action. I've seen specific areas I've made excuses and I've recognized my tendency and choosing to take one step at a time to work towards my goal. It's not easy, but worth it. Kyle's saying, yes, I'm so guilty of years of excuses and working hard to rid myself. I think we all struggle with that tendency. It's so easy. It's just like human nature to give ourselves a reason. And we're so easy on ourselves and so hard when we look on other people, when we look at other people, they're a slacker, or they, but for some reason for ourselves, it's hard. So
that's so crazy. It's like, that's the thing, right? The people who make excuses, like you don't want them in your life. Like, man, I can't trust that guy. I can't trust her. She's always got an excuse for why she didn't do it. Well, we might be that person, and it's again, have grace for everyone. It's like, we've got to hold ourselves as accountable as we would want to hold other people when it comes to making excuses.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Kevin, that was a great word to hear today. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody for joining us. And we are going to take a week off next week, right, Kevin?
Yep. I've got jury duty.
Oh boy. Can't wait to hear about that on the week after. I'm sure you'll have lots of great stories.
That'll be a good test, right? Like, can you have the right mindset when you sit in there for 8 hours a day for jury duty?
That's right. That's great. All right, everybody, have a great week and we will see you next time.